Welcome back to the Other Side Lifestyle Podcast with Jim and Aram. Today we have a fucking guest named fucking Beth fucking Feraco. Did I say your fucking name right?
Fuck yes, you did. All right.
First of all, can you watch your language? Can you watch it?
Oh
We're the
my
only ones
God.
who are allowed to curse. We don't
Yeah,
it hurts people's feelings.
Only the host allowed to curse. Well, it's funny because Beth, just so you're humbled by this, you were a last minute fill-in to Jared Hamilton because he was supposed to be on today, but he canceled on it.
Fucking loser.
Fucking Jared.
Yeah, right.
I'm a fill-in.
Yeah, you're a fill-in, but hey, appropriately so. And I would say that.
Yeah, but this would have been scheduled anyway. We know that.
Yeah, this was coming down the pipeline anyway. We're just getting you on earlier. I forgot how you and I connected, but it was way before I asked you to speak, and it was way before we did a podcast together. I feel like somehow we got connected through Butter Your Macros, maybe.
Maybe you did a Q&A of people that you asked them, your audience, who they wanted you to do a live with. I think
That's what it was. So this is like a couple of years ago.
And they were like, anybody except you doing it alone because you're so boring. Can you just get anyone to talk more, that it would be a good live?
Well, I think enough people know who the hell you are, especially our listeners. So we've probably mentioned you multiple times. So we're not going to need the introduction. We don't fucking care of your origin story. We don't care.
Does Beth know that the way that we ended our podcast, and then it's just a coincidence. Neither one of us stole this off each other. She was probably saying it before, but Beth, give us a little sample of how you end all your videos on Instagram.
Oh, I end them. Oh, okay. But okay, bye.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.
There it is. There it
okay, bye.
is.
So that started, honestly. Okay, so I have a brother who is gay, right? And I literally, like, we talk like that.
What's his name?
He's like, his name's Matt.
Is it Matthew?
Matthew Wilkes. And every time we talk, he's like, okay, bye. And so it just kind of flows out of my mouth, and I just kept it. So,
So for the first like 80 episodes, we would end every episode with a question. We would say, all right, we end every episode with this question, and vary the way we might introduce it, but it's a this or that question. Are you ready? Mm-hmm. Bye. And then we just hang up on them. Like, that's how it ended. Like, the person, they were like, oh shit, what's this question? I got to try to think of something witty. And then I would just say bye in a different way. But now we actually ask some questions. Aram was sick of me saying bye.
Okay. It just ends up being more interactive. But for question number one for you, to start this thing off with a bang, who's mad at you this week?
Who's mad at me this week? I'm trying to think. Let's see. Probably Flava Flav, Bobby Flav people. Flav City. Anything to do with when I stitch a video of someone saying going into fucking Dunkin' Donuts or something, and they're like, this has this much sugar in it, and da 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 da. Obviously, you don't want to drink that shit every day, right? Yeah. I mean, let's be real here. But it's just the fear mongering when it comes to food. And then, people in the comments, it's like, you're promoting poison. And it's like, you're calling this poison. But let's talk about alcohol for a second, which is actually a fucking poison. Like, no one wants to go there ever. Yeah. So when I throw that back, it's like fucking crickets.
Yeah, like the response would be, well, yeah, like in moderation, it's okay. And you're like, egg fucking exactly.
Exactly. So that's what I'm talking about. Okay. Okay.
So I will ask you a bit of an origin question. Were you like a fall down drunk or were you, because you don't drink anymore at all?
I haven't drank in 8 years, but for me, I was I guess you could say functioning alcoholic.
So like daily.
It got to a point but then I started drinking in the morning, and that's when I'm
before noon, you might as well start doing
this
coke
shit's
at that
getting
point
a little fucking intense here,
like going to work kind of thing.
Well, I was a stay-at-home mom at the time.
Okay, that's understandable then.
Yeah, well, I mean, I would drink if I had kids too.
I mean, we live in Maine. It was very isolating. My husband at the time owned 2 businesses, a plowing business and a landscaping business. So he was always gone. I was home with the kids. Not that I don't want to blame them now, but I did blame them then that, being isolated, stuck in Maine, at home with a screaming child and a stepdaughter. It was
great reason
intense.
to drink.
you know?
Yeah.
It's a
So
fantastic. I mean, if
I
there's
would-
any, if there's a thing, if there's like an instruction for use on the bottle, it should say stay-at-home moms should use 3 of these each morning.
Did you ever see the Bill Burr bit when he's talking about, everybody says like, there's never a reason to hit a woman. Never a reason. He's like, never?
Never? No.
Not even a reason? And then he like, I'm not saying that you should. I'm just saying, not even a reason?
Yeah.
That's what that reminds me of. Not even a reason? That's
was it tough to give it up?
in the beginning, yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
talk about that for a sec.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, so I was a bartender in LA. My life kind of revolved around drinking. Yeah. So I mean, it started. I lived in San Diego. I don't know if you remember that.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
he's in San Diego. I lived there for a few months after college. Look at us.
So I lived in Mission Beach, North Park,
That's
and
a
I actually bartended at Pure Platinum San Diego for 5 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
I went to Pacers the other night, actually.
Okay. Yep. So I wore the G-string with the the tights and the cummerbund and the bow tie and the back.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
We'll flash that picture up during this clip that we post on Instagram.
I have the only picture I have of that is a Polaroid because that's how long ago it was.
Yeah,
okay,
text me the picture of the Polaroid so we can use that.
I gotta find it. Okay.
Our marketing.
Oh my God. So
that'll be how I introduce you at the event.
You'll get 12 new followers from this preview.
And you'll lose 75.
Right. Yeah. So, I was in the bar business for a long time. Then I, moved to LA, worked in the bar business there. So, I'm no stranger to the alcohol. I just brought the drinking life into my married life. Yeah. And then it just continued. And it's a progressive alcoholism disease. And definitely that's what happened to me.
Did your husband drink or no?
No.
At all?
He hates the taste of alcohol, thank God, but he's a recovering heroin addict.
That's
so he's about 15 years sober from heroin right now.
Wow. Jesus.
Yeah.
Was it just like a one day you're like, I'm done?
It was one of those things where I knew I wanted to quit for a few years. I would do, and I almost had like disordered eating with my drinking. I would be like, I'm going to do a 2-week fast, literally. So I could not drink. I would do paleo, 30 days, no drinking, but I always came back to the alcohol. It was like, I would do some kind of crazy diet to not drink.
Okay.
And then there was the catalyst, I guess you can call what's that word?
Straw that broke the camel's back kind of thing.
The drawing point was when it was my anniversary and I had the 2 kids in the car. I was at a party, a daytime barbecue, and I drank about almost a bottle of wine and I drove home with the 2 kids in the car. Don't remember much of it, but remember my husband pissed as all hell because I came home, I started puking and he's like, what the fuck are you doing? And I'm like, yeah, what am I doing?
Yeah.
I'm going to kill them. I'm going to kill myself. So.
I think it's, as much as I hate when our clients or we have to hit rock bottom to learn lessons, but unfortunately, God damn it, they are good lessons though.
Seriously. They
really are. And it's almost like, I wish there was a way, instead of a magic pill, I wish there was a way we can feed somebody a pill that gets them to rock bottom faster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Without having to spend the uncomfortable, developmental addiction phase, just get you from first use to just immediately rock bottom within 24 hours and see how shitty it feels. And then be like, cool, I have a reason to get the fuck out of this problem.
Yeah. I mean, that's where you're always one decision away from totally different life. Yeah. And that was my decision. And
it was done at that point. When you hit that, was it done?
I decided a few days later I needed to go to AA, which was there was an AA meeting down the street from my house because I couldn't quit on my own. Obviously, I tried millions of times, walked in, the hardest thing I ever fucking did in my life. And I went every day for a year.
Wow. Were you looking at them thinking these people are a mess? I'm not like this. Was that a thought? Because I feel like a lot of people that I know who have gone through the process, they're like, I'm not as bad as these people.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's why it took me so long to walk into an AA meeting because I'm like, fuck that. I'm not an alcoholic. I'm not going to tell everyone my name is Beth. I'm an alcoholic. Are you out of your mind? Who wants to admit that shit? Yeah. So yeah, that's what started my basically becoming a coach and getting into fitness.
What was the biggest thing from AA? What was the biggest aspect of it that actually helped?
Knowing that I was not alone.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Nice. I haven't gone to AA in probably 6-7 years now because it worked for what I needed it to work for. But what I come to realize is the more I became sober and started becoming my own person, and I'd realized that everyone in there was not growing.
Yeah.
They were the same, and they came in, the same people were coming and talking about the same fucking story. And it's like, okay, aren't you going to move on from that? I understand, this is important for your recovery, but I felt like everyone was just going in there and no one was like doing anything else.
Yeah.
But talking about the same fucking thing, it's like, okay, let's
I have
on.
a question for you about that, because this ties into like mental health and therapy and everything else. Because I think therapy, or at least the process of therapy, is not much different than the 12-step program. It's like identify you have a problem and blah, 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 and go through all these steps. What I think you just said is fantastic. There's people that stay in AA or stay in that system forever. And it's almost like
that becomes their identity.
Well, yes. But I think also some people I think go, it depends on the intention of the individual. And I think that's important. Like if the intention of the individual is, hey, this is my accountability, it's no different than somebody like you or me who knows everything there is to know about nutrition, but we still have a coach because we want to stay accountable to a process. Right. So if that process allows them to stay in recovery, because you're never recovered, you're always kind of actively in recovery. But what you said, I think, was interesting, because you said that that you stopped going because you stopped getting something out of it because you saw that nobody else was advancing, or a lot of people weren't, and you were. Do you think it's because there was still like this idea that they were blaming other things for their problem versus owning up to the fact that I have the issue and I have to resolve my bullshit before this issue becomes a non-issue?
I feel like they just kept identifying as that alcoholic.
When you said it, my first thought was, it's like you got to the point in your head of I'm done with this identity. And it's like, why would I go there if it's not who I am? Like, if you feel like I've recovered for the sake of saying recovered, like I'm not identifying with this anymore.
Yeah.
I'm done. I need to live my life as this new individual.
Didn't want to be Beth. Hi, my name is Beth. I'm an alcoholic every day. It was like reminding myself of my own bullshit, every single day. It's like, oh, my name is Beth. I'm an alcoholic. Let's talk about the bullshit again today. It's like, no, I know now how to stay sober. I now don't, surround myself that do anything that I don't want to do, or, that kind of thing.
So you're not going to speak at the conference in Vegas?
You're going to be surrounded by, there's going to be
no. You know what I'm saying?
Like, I don't
purposely go to fucking bars and, stuff like that. But I mean, obviously I've been surrounded by alcohol.
Yeah.
And now it's a non-event.
What's that?
At this point, like you being around a room full of booze is not even a problem.
It doesn't bother me. Yeah.
Now, when you started switching over, obviously, and getting into this like recovery phase, did you find that food became a vice or no?
Not for me.
Interesting.
No.
So
I threw myself into fitness. I kind of went into running. I did some disordered like running where I would, ran so much that I got plantar fasciitis, I got shin splints, bone spurs, that kind of thing. So I went to the fitness instead of the food.
Yeah. So, and I think this is something that happens a lot of times with people that are dealing with some type of an internal demon. They kind of find something else to lean into. Yeah. And I think you get a lot of shit for this and I want to discuss this because I think a lot of women are in the same boat as you are. Obviously, your physique has changed multiple times in these last 8 years that you've been sober. Obviously you've lost weight, you've gained weight, you've lost weight, you've gained weight. And I see a lot of times in your comment section, you call these people out, which I think is brilliant. A lot of women are like, well, I don't understand why you're giving out advice when you're not even that fit. What do you say to women who are feeling like that, right? Like a lot of women are identifying as fit people or as healthy people, but they're not quite looking the part yet. And I think then they become dissuaded or discouraged because they walk into a room and people don't immediately say like, oh, Beth must work out. Like that could be very problematic for women who are trying to get through this journey, but they're still getting all this negative feedback and commentary. Like, what do you say to that? How do you help people through that?
It's like, it's a journey. Like your body morphs and changes all the time. Right. And just because you're not looking the shredded part does not mean you're not strong, that you don't have muscle, that you're not healthy. A lot of those fit people with the abs and stuff, they have a disordered eating. Yeah. It's like people are looking at other people and comparing themselves to what they think a healthy person should look like. And it doesn't necessarily look like every shredded person with abs on Instagram.
Yeah. It's like the rich person who maybe like does financial advice. They're giving tips on finance. And they're like, well, you don't look at that car you drive. You don't look rich. It's like, just because I fucking don't show it off or walk around or have this great presentation doesn't mean, because it's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
it's a lifestyle. So it's like, if it's part of your life, the way that you eat, the way that you train, the way that you move, the way that you sleep, it's a lifestyle. It's not a look.
No.
Right. Yeah.
So help us with this, because I think this is something that women really do battle. Like, let's say like a woman classically falls into this like 140 to 180 pound range, very common. Some muscle, but still an abundance of visible fat. So when she walks into a room, maybe people aren't turning their heads and being like, oh, so and so is a lifter, or so and so goes to the gym. She's doing all those things. She's eating well. She's been on the journey for a little while, but she doesn't quite have that physique that she was kind of envisioning when she first started. What type of mental advice or help would you be able to give to that individual and say, hey, listen, like, this is a very long road and you have to be patient, and it's okay that you don't quite look the part yet?
I think it really comes down to having them focus on more how they feel and treating their body well, fueling their body well, and focusing on not so much an aesthetic goal, but like a strength goal. Like, let's get you like mastering a chin up, or, and that stuff, it just changes your mindset in general. If you can deadlift better than you did last year, or now you're doing 10 chin ups instead of 4, that can give you a lot of confidence.
Yeah.
And
I don't disagree. I think the problem is though, like, let's be honest, most people start eating a certain way and start training a certain way because they want that body.
Yeah.
Right. They want that body. Now, my whole thing, and this is where I'm a dickhead about it. Like, if you really wanted to be lean, you should have fucking started 20 years ago and never stopped. And if you really care that much about fitting into your clothes, like, stop being an asshole on the weekend, stop drinking, stop being a fucking a yes man to everybody and having no boundaries. But that's clearly not the case. You want balance, and you want the physique, and you want the ability to be responsible, but you also want to be flexible. So like, you want all these things.
You got to choose one.
And I get it. Like,
Yeah.
I understand it's a bitch and it's a shitty thing to have to come to terms with, but I don't want to discourage people from starting in their 40s or starting in their 50s, especially for women who are about to enter into menopause or have just gotten through it. It's a bitch. It's a shitty shift of life. Talk to that woman specifically. Like, I'm 45. I've been on the back burner for 20 years because my kids and my husband and my career came first. I'm now starting to get back into it. What should my expectations be? And how should I be able to enter into this with a better headspace?
Mastering the basics, just getting to the foundation of getting yourself feeling good, like moving your body, treating yourself well, fueling yourself well. I feel like I'm repeating myself, but I started when I was 42, and honestly, like, I didn't really have like, I need to do this, this, and this. It kind of just like started imperfectly. I went from running to doing group classes. It's like just getting somewhere first. Okay. Like, find a movement that you love and let's start there, because you're not going to be a bodybuilder in like, a year here. So let's just start somewhere, get you feeling good, get you used to working out, and, setting those expectations that this is not going to happen overnight. And it's okay. Let's start with one thing right now. And then as your goals may change as you morph and change. I know they did for me. Like, I've had different goals throughout the years.
I think what you said, like feeling good, and how many times do you see somebody's feeling great and then they get on the scale?
Yeah, that's the
and
thing,
all of a
that,
sudden they're not feeling great.
We got to get away from that scale. And also, so many women want to just starve themselves. And this was me, in the beginning, I wanted to, be my thinnest self. I wasn't even thinking of like my strongest self. So I think, getting them lifting weights, which automatically, once you start lifting weights, you start to see your body change. And feeling how strong you are and all that. It's just, that alone will change your mindset.
I know like every client's different with what they might need. In general, what's your strategy with somebody who's just starting with you when it comes to things like tracking food, weighing themselves, and the nutrition part of it?
It's so individual, right?
Yeah.
It just depends like where they were, like how much they dieted. Sometimes where it's like, okay, let's just start with just tracking. We're not even going to give you any calorie goals or anything. Let's just track, see where you are, see how you feel with it. Maybe start with walking, maybe not even start going to the gym yet because they may be intimidated. So get them moving, maybe even to get them in the gym, start walking in the treadmill in the gym. If you're afraid to go to the gym, get used to the environment.
Yeah.
And then kind of like building those habits, creating those wins. You want to have them, have wins right away, because a lot of people don't have that self-efficacy or belief in themselves. So they have to, do something that they're automatically going to start winning at, and then start building off from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the problem with coaching, or at least that I see a problem with coaching, is like we are a short-term relationship given the scope of somebody's life. Let's say we do get the fortunate opportunity to be with somebody for 2 years even.
Mm-hmm.
Even in 2 years, if you have 40, 50, 70 pounds to lose, it might take you more than that. So this, like, as coaches, we're a blip on a very big radar. And I think there's a very large misconception of I'm going to hire a coach and this process is going to be so accelerated that after my 6-month program with Beth, I'm going to look like I did when I was 25.
Yeah.
And that's bullshit. And I think that you do a great job of managing expectations. Jimmy does a great job of managing expectations, but there are some times where like you're just throwing your head against the wall. Like I've done the calorie deficit. It's been controlled and I still didn't get what I want. Like I have a specific case right now with a woman that I've been working with for a couple of years now. And she kind of bounces in between 148 and 159. That's kind of where she lives. Does she look tremendously different than she did when she started? Not really. Physically, right? Like mentally, totally better. Strength-wise, through the roof where she was before. Calorically, in a much better place. But the bot, if you look at her, you can't say like this is somebody who looks completely different now than they did a year ago. And I think that's frustrating the shit out of her. What type of advice would you give to that person? Because I know she's not the only one out there that's like that. I'm sure you've had people like that too.
Yeah, so she's frustrated because her body's not changing, and
granted, mountain of stress, mountains of stress, lots of travel for work, multiple children. She works in the healthcare field, so she's kind of surrounded by all this shit all the time.
Yeah.
So she's got a couple of things working against her, but still very diligent with her food, very diligent with her training, has all of her lifestyle pieces together. But it's this roller coaster ride of emotions and responsibilities. And 1 week I'm in Florida, the next week I'm in Georgia, and then I'm in Universal, and then I'm with my family, and then my kids have 97 sports going on. I'm sure that's an avatar that you're seeing constantly.
Yeah, she's got to manage her expectations for where her life is right now. And if she wants to change the way she really wants to change, right, physically, then other things in her life may need to change.
Yeah.
And that's something that some people, it's hard to grasp, but it's like, okay, you can't get upset, especially if you are still doing these things that are stressing you out. Maybe you have a job that's stressing you out. Maybe it's time to get the fuck out of that job, like start like creating the awareness for these issues that she's having that are, trickling into her, health and wellness.
Yeah. And it's such a
hard
shitty
balance.
It is. It's a very, I mean, that's the thing is, I think when you sign up, like, hey, I want to be a career mom. Like I want to be a mom who's not stay at home. I want to have a job. I also want to be a mother. You're asking immediately to bite off a lot.
Yeah.
Like I'm not saying you're biting off more than you can chew, but for a lot of people, if you haven't had a life full of stress resilience experience, and now you're in your 30s and 40s, and now you got 2 kids that are 9, 10, 12, 13 that have sports every weekend, but you also have to be at work, but you also have to manage your household, but you also have to be a wife, and you also have to be a friend.
Yeah.
You're wearing 1,000 different hats.
Million hats. Yeah.
You're getting pulled into every which direction. And that expectation management piece is the biggest bitch of this entire process, because people don't want to accept it.
Yeah. Well, then they have to accept where they are.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of women, they suddenly wake up, their kids are going to college. They're like, what the fuck happened to myself? No. Because they've been stressed out and doing like soccer and all that stuff and running the household. And then now they're like, oh, what happened to me? It's like, you need to start focusing on you during all this shit.
Yeah.
And start to, cut things out that are stressing you out. Like now I don't do anything unless I want to. But that
must be nice.
That wasn't me before. Nice. That's why I drank. I had a lot of resentment because I was taking on things that I didn't want to do.
Yeah.
So it's like you kind of create your own reality in that way.
Yeah,
you don't have to fucking do everything.
Yeah. You don't.
You don't have to be super mom. You don't.
You can't be.
And women need to be communicating. If they have a spouse or partner, somebody at home,
yes,
they need to be communicating that. The amount of times that I have to say to my wife, like, just fucking ask. Like, sure. Oh no, I got to finish this. I got to do the dishes. I got to just, if you need help, I'll help. Just communicate.
Yeah.
I need to go to the gym. Can you be home from work? What time can you be home? Because I can be at the gym so that you can take the kids to this. Like that stuff needs to be communicated. And if your spouse or partner is not willing to help, then that's a bigger issue.
That's the thing.
Way bigger.
That's what we need to take a look at, right? And I run into that with a lot of women will DM me about drinking, and I don't know what to do. My husband drinks a lot, so we drink together. It's like, okay, so your husband drinks a lot, you don't want to drink, so you need to have the conversation. Like, you don't have to fucking drink because he's drinking.
Yeah.
If it's becoming an issue for you, maybe you need to tell him that and have that conversation instead of saying, I don't know how I can do this if he's doing it. And it's
can you stop with me? This is a really important thing.
Yeah. Like tell him that, you are struggling right now. And if he does not agree with that, then you guys need to figure something out.
Yeah. I spoke about this before in a post or something with communication. I feel like a lot of couples, you get to the point, everybody says communication is key, but all we're communicating is like our agenda for the day and like our schedule. Okay, at 5 o'clock, you're gonna be here, and then I gotta take the kids here, and then we're gonna do this. And we're not communicating like what we really actually need. Like, I need a hug. I need you to scratch my back. I need this. I need you to help here. I need, all that kind of stuff. There is that. It's a big problem. Women take all that on.
Yeah.
It's like in their DNA or something to take on.
It's a nurturing thing, and I get it, and I understand that there's a part of that that's driven by genetics and evolution, and there's definitely a very real component of that. But I think the other problem is that we live in a time where we're overstimulated, overcommitted, and we just don't prioritize like the simplicity of stuff anymore. Like everybody has to say yes to everything, and I know that I can be in 15 places at once, and it's like, no, you can't. You don't do that at work.
Right.
Like you have one role at work that like even that is enough for you. Like you're not going to ask the boss for more work. Be like, oh, please, I feel like I'm not doing enough. Can you give me more responsibilities and not pay me more?
Yeah.
But that's what you're asking to do as a mother who's a full-time mom and a full-time employee and a full-time wife. You can't expect to be good at it all the time.
The thing is, if my health and started taking a deep fall because of all the things I was doing, I would need to take a look at, okay, what can I cut out here? Because this is, if I don't get my workouts in, my walks, my running, whatever, then I'm no good here.
Yeah. And that's that selfish selflessness. Like you have to
be selfish
so that you can actually be better at being selfless. Because now you're going to be nippy with the kids. Shut the hell up. Get the fucking car. Like, all that shit goes down when you're not feeling good.
I'm gonna switch directions on you, and this is something that I've been seeing a lot of lately. Is the resistant towards like I've actually switched my tune on this. I don't call it meal prep anymore. I call it ingredient prep now.
Oh, I love ingredient prep. So much easier.
It sounds less scary too.
Cook once, eat all week.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
you hear that?
So you get a lot of people right now that are resistant to it, and it's purely because, in my opinion, it's an overcomplicated process, and or at least people are perceiving it to be complicated, and they're overcomplicating it themselves, which it's not. And then they're also not making the little bit of time that it does require. How do you get people to start shifting their perspective on the value of ingredient prep and the implementation of it?
It's like, okay, if you know something's going to work, why wouldn't you start doing it? I don't know. If you have a goal and someone's saying, I think this would work, why don't you try it? This may help you stick to your goals. Why wouldn't you want to fucking try it?
Well, because then they have nothing to
I feel like people
about.
are just resisting, or they just want to complain, or they just want their body handed to them.
Yeah.
It's like, we need to do some things different so you can, see the results that you want to see. It's like when people are resistant to tracking, it's like, okay, well, why are you resistant to tracking if it's going to work? If, I was spinning my wheels for like a year until I, took Jordan Syatt's advice, was like, why don't you weigh and measure your food? Have you tried that? It's like, no. Started doing that and it worked. I'm like, why the fuck didn't someone say anything about this before? It's like, if you know something's going to work, why aren't you going to do it? It
I think
baffles
you'll get
me.
into the habit of complaining and the habit of blaming, and that's just the habit. And then I think even in I don't know how much it happens on Facebook now, but like people would post their misery on Facebook, and then all
Misery
their friends
loves company, and then everyone's chiming in.
I'm so sorry. He sounds like an asshole. That's so awful. We're praying for you. Thoughts for you. And they're like, oh shit, if I complain, everybody loves me.
Oh yeah.
And then you're the victim and the martyr all at the same time.
Yeah.
So thinking about all the habits we're trying to develop, that can be one habit people can potentially just start recognizing when they're doing it, like, shit, I'm doing this again. I'm complaining. What action am I taking?
And I think people fear the ingredient prep or the meal prep because they think it's something like so extravagant. It's going to take all day.
Interesting.
Like, it doesn't. It could take an hour out of your life.
Yeah, and most of it is just you waiting.
If that.
Most of it's you waiting.
Yeah, it's like you're standing in front of
boil some rice and some fucking protein pasta and some turkey burger and
boil rice. What do you mean? You know, everybody that's listening to this right now has a fucking air fryer or an Instapot or
Wait, you air fry rice?
Absolutely, I like it nice and crunchy, so it breaks.
How do you air fry?
I've never air fried rice.
I'm kidding.
I was gonna say.
I don't think he's kidding.
I'm sure
I think
there
he's weird.
is such thing as air fried rice.
Are you cooking the rice first by boiling it and then air fry?
And then I air fry it, and then I make burger patties out of it. No, but like everybody has one of these like modern convenience. I mean, shit, everybody's making fucking Ninja Creamy ice cream in their house now. So like you have all the tools you need in your fucking shop. You're just not spending the time to use it. Now, what's your view on, because I know like this is where probably you and I will differ a little bit, and I'm fine having this discourse with you. You do a lot of stuff where I don't want to call it convenience foods, but like quick foods. Because again, moms are always looking for something on the run, whether it's like a sandwich or whether it's like something on a cracker or whatever else. I tend to see a lot of times where I'm trying to simplify people's ingredients by giving them as much whole food as possible. And I tend to almost be a little bit dogmatically pro whole food versus unnatural starches and the exclusion of certain foods, because I don't want to promote eating stuff out of a box or a bag. But I also see the need for that every once in a while. You do it very well, and you do it way better than I do, because I'm just like, fuck you, stop eating that shit. And you're like, no, you can certainly incorporate it and still be fine. I think it depends on the person and where they're coming from. Talk about your view on that kind of stuff, because I think that's important to at least almost give people permission to be okay with that.
Yeah, I think so. I'm all about, nutrient dense foods, right? But also I think for me, it's about healing people's relationship with food. So a lot of people that come to me are people that, have not had a fucking banana or even a potato for years, right? Either they're coming off keto or whatever. So they're afraid to eat certain things, but it's causing them to binge.
Yep.
So if they're allowed, they know that this is okay to have, then they're going to incorporate it, but also not binge on it anymore. So I think that's what's important. And what I try to teach is to have a healthy relationship with food. This way, you can incorporate these things, but let's make sure we get our protein and fiber, our nutrient dense foods as well.
And then even how to use the things that maybe are in the house to make meals for your kids, how to use them even for yourself.
So
with some of
let's
those things.
A good meal with, obviously your kids are eating with you or whatever, but we still need to make sure that we're prioritizing certain things,
What is flavor of the month guy mad at you about this week? Total gear shift.
See, so this would tie into probably what Aram's talking about. So
Flav City.
So he made that video about the largest, Dunkin' pumpkin with fucking
I saw
whipped cream and all that shit.
Sounds so good.
He's like, looks how much sugar is in this, and he throws a freaking case of donuts on the thing, and he's got this much sugar in it. It's like, no,
it shows like a cup filled with sugar, like it's this much in there.
It's like this much sugar in here, and it's just fear tactics, and I fucking hate him anyway. Because is this Bobby approved? Fuck you. Really?
You know that airplane audio where it's like the pilot, hey,
Airplane, the movie.
No. There's like an audio that was like trending a little bit, I guess, on Instagram, where it would show people, they'd probably just be filming out the window of the plane, and and the audio is of a pilot, a fake pilot, going, hey, enough, you're not looking out. It's like you can't understand them. So I took one of his videos where he's in a grocery store, and I just put, this is what I hear when I see his videos, and I use that pilot audio. So he's there talking about like, and all you hear is, hey, like it is insane how old he gets and how he contradicts himself.
Yeah, that's the thing. He and his healthy wine, but he's talking shit about the ingredients and half the products he's involved with and makes money off of, which whatever. But it's the fear mongering and the healthy relationship with food that I wish for all people. It's not like I sit around eating Pop-Tarts all day, but it's okay to have a Pop-Tart.
Yeah.
But I get what Aram's saying too.
I just want to live in a world where listen, I nobody is under the mystery that I'm not one of these people, but I'm a recreational drug user. I'm a binge drinker. I eat like shit at least once a week.
When you say binge drinker, explain what you mean by that. I mean, how often is that happening?
Once every 2 or 3 months, I drink a lot.
Thank you. I'm just saying, when you say binge drinker, somebody's imagining maybe every weekend or something.
No,
like
I
that.
used to do that every weekend back in my 20s when I could do it. But now, if I did that, I'd be in the fetal position for 3 fucking days.
Well, now they have those IV drips, so that's the only reason you can.
I have to befriend a nurse locally here, so that way it can be a little bit more cost effective. But I go with the therapy route of just Pedialyte, just packing Pedialyte inside of myself. But I think that there's still this fundamental misunderstanding of the fact that everything is dose dependent.
Yeah.
We've already seen the studies on it. People have done the McDonald's diet. People have done the fast food diet. As long as you control for calories, we know you're going to lose weight. It's just a matter of how low do you want to go and how long do you want to stay there?
Yeah.
Because at some point you're going to want to go out to eat with your husband and your kids. At some point you're going to want to eat the cake at the party. At some point you're going to want to have a drink. And eliminating all those things out of your life for a period of time is absolutely fine. And I think there's nothing disordered about it, because I think when you do a diet with a coach, it's distinctly different than doing a diet by yourself.
Yeah.
Because what do we get? We're getting people coming to us that have done diets on their own, which is a fucking nightmare because they have no idea how to deploy them properly. Right. There's no exit strategy. There's no control of it. So it's really a 2 or 3 day diet followed by a 4-day binge. So they're never really actually dieting. And then they're wondering why is this diet not working? It's because you're not following the diet.
They're in the diet mindset, but never on the diet.
If you stayed at, and I don't see anything demonic about 1,200 or 1,500 or 1,000 calories, because some people clearly need that little food to lose fat. That's how it works. Their body has used to eating less, and for them, a deficit might be 1,000 calories, and that's fucking fine as long as you're actually planning that period of time. Whereas okay, for 8 weeks,
yeah, exactly,
I'm not going to go out to eat, or when I am, I'm going to be very careful about what I choose. Maybe I'm not drinking during that 8 weeks. Maybe I'm not doing desserts that 8 weeks, because it's already uncomfortable enough.
That's always drives me nuts. The people that post the shit where it's if your coach is telling you to eat 1,200 calories a day, they don't know what they're talking about. I'm like,
it's all individual. There's rapid fat loss protocols that I've done for, whatever. It could be 2-3 weeks at a time where I'm eating super low but it's
but you're controlling it.
But you're controlling it. And I'm not just randomly doing it going I don't know, I'm just eating 800 calories for 3 months.
Because nobody that, and that's why I'm so tired of that conversation. I'm you tell me that you came from an 800 calorie diet, but you didn't track your food at all throughout the 6 months that you thought you were doing it. We have no idea what was actually going in. I mean, I log every ounce of food that I eat, and including restaurant food, and booze.
Loser.
I do the best job that I can estimating it, but no, you're not fucking bringing your food scale to the restaurant, and you have no idea how much oil they're using in anything.
Yeah.
So if you go out to eat 2 or 3 times and you think you're on a diet, no, the fuck you're not.
Right. Yeah. That drives me nuts. It's I'm in a calorie deficit, but I'm not losing fat. It's you're not in a calorie deficit if you're not losing fat. And it's just that's what it is. How many times a week are you eating out?
Yeah,
are you tracking your food and measuring and weighing it? No, I'm just eyeballing it. Well, okay, you're eyeballing.
I can't eyeball shit. I mean, I've been
doing this for so long. I can't even eyeball my own shit. I can't. I actually love tracking, to be honest.
I do too. It's fun.
It keeps me I don't know. It keeps me on track. Even maintenance, I'll track it all.
It's a game. I turn it into a game. I think people look at it as this. First of all, one goes with the other. So if you're ingredient prepping, tracking is fucking simple because you're eating the same 15 or 20 foods anyway. You're just mixing and matching quantities and food combinations. But if you're constantly running out of the house without a meal, having no idea what your schedule is like, of course, tracking fucking Starbucks and tracking the salad at your fucking office cafeteria and tracking this, that's a pain in the ass because you're not actually prepared and you're not eating food that you're in control of.
Right.
So in that context, tracking is a fucking nightmare. You might as well not do it because you have no clue.
Right.
But if you're sitting in your kitchen and you're using your food scale, it's a 12-second process.
Oh, yeah.
If that.
But at the end of the day, if what you're doing is not working, then go for the track. Yeah, I could cut weight quick by eliminating sugar, alcohol, gluten, things. Not that gluten's making you fat or anything, but a lot of those foods have a lot of calories and I'll keep eating them. But if I cut out added sugar and alcohol, I'm going to drop weight. But if I'm not, okay, I got to start weighing some stuff and figure some things out. So there's 1,000 strategies people can use. And if nothing's working, then you have to start maybe weighing stuff.
It's like people are always searching for the problems and never the solutions.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, or just finding that like thing that they want to blame. It's like this is the problem. Like I heard that because I'm insulin resistant, that I can't eat sugar because that's going to spike my insulin and that's going to cause me to retain fat. No, it's not. Like not acutely at all. Like it's not. If it was that simple, you'd be a fat fuck after every cake you ate.
Right.
Yeah. But that's not how it works.
Well, it's like it's too hard to track. Well, it's too hard for you currently to walk upstairs. So let's try to swap hards at this point.
I mean, I was the one that was like drinking every night. I'd be like, there's something wrong with my hormones. I even went to the doctor. Seriously.
You're like shooting yourself in the foot and you're like, I think my foot's broken.
The fucking naturopathic chiropractor. I'm like, there's something wrong with me. You know, I would say go to everywhere. Like it's my hormones, you know. No, it's because I was fucking drinking every night and like binging on a pizza at 11 p.m. That's I had the Belvedere bloat. That's what it was, you know.
You're unplugging the vacuum and saying it's broken.
Yeah, well, at least Belvedere was a high quality, well-sourced vodka.
I'm not a fan.
At least you weren't, well, yeah. Well, is it French?
I don't know. I remember one time having it at a wedding and
Belvedere,
I was like, it's not that good.
Like Russian or?
No. Don't fuck with my vodka. That's my,
his comes in the plastic bottles or at the bottom?
No.
Slow cough.
If I drink vodka, like if I have to pick, it'll be Russian standard.
I used to be a Fernet Branca chick.
What is that?
I don't know what that is.
You have never tried Fernet Branca?
No,
what is it?
You should take a shot of it one time.
I might binge drink this week.
Is it a vodka?
No, it's okay. It's almost like a Jaeger.
Okay.
But not
trauma.
Jaeger.
Trauma's coming. Go ahead.
Fucking strong. It's dark.
Strong and dark, just like I like my
and dark.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Well, okay. Well, now we know what the shot of RSC 2024 is going to be. 20 bottles of Fernet Blanca on stage giveaway right off the bat with Beth's first presentation on stage.
Don't blame me.
Oh my God!
If you guys win this whole bottle and don't finish it by the time the event is over, you don't get a ticket for next year.
Yeah, and if you didn't get a ticket yet, get it. I want turn into Kermit for a second there. I got a little thing in my throat. I'm going through puberty.
Yeah.
We still didn't find out what Flav was. He really mad at you?
No, I don't. He probably doesn't. He doesn't even know that.
I was wanting to know. Like, does he really respond?
Followers were mad at me.
Oh, really? Like they comment on your stuff?
But that always happens though, because everybody has like their tribe. It's no different than like when I get a troll and like 30 of the women that follow me like come to my rescue and they're like, "Fuck you."
Yeah,
it's the best thing in the world.
It's so wild, that whole world of people going on and commenting on.
It's fucking weird. It's
especially when they're not following you. Like they don't follow you. They don't interact with your posts.
Or if they are. Like how many, you probably have people, because you're controversial enough, the way you deliver things and your information and a large enough following that you probably do have people that follow you just to be mad at you.
Probably. I'm sure. I mean, I get so fucking weird comments from people or DMs. It's like, oh my God, I'm totally unfollowing you. I thought you were different. I'm like,
please do.
Please. Like, I don't want you to follow me.
It's so weird.
Please do.
It's like going up to a woman in a bar and being like, hey, I just want to let you know, I don't find you attractive and I'm not going to hit on you tonight.
Yeah.
That's actually going to be my approach going forward. I think that's actually going to help you get more ass. Like walk up to, like, if you're single and you're looking at somebody across the way and you're like, how can I hit on them? Do the anti-hit on them process.
You're like the opposite George Costanza.
Yeah. Excuse me. I find you mildly unattractive and rather annoying. So I'm going to go ahead and stay on this side of the bar. And you stay on this side of the bar. Guarantee there's going to be
a little reverse psychology.
I think that'll work.
That's like literally what people do on Instagram.
Oh, I know. And they're like,
it's literally that.
You lost me at the F word. I'm like, I never fucking had you. Okay. Yeah. Who cares? Yeah. Like,
you lost me at the F word. Well, that's where the other 80,000 people found me. It was because of the F word.
Well, and the fact that it's an authentic part of your, and I understand why you swear because you're passionate. I swear for the same reason.
If I'm not swearing, I'm not passionate. And I don't give a shit.
Right. It's no different than having different tones in your voice. Like, fuck tends to be a placeholder for something.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you say it with like some emphasis and some passion, like there is clearly some fire in you.
Yeah.
And if you don't have that, like, I mean, I've had to dumb it down on podcasts that were family friendly or whatever. And like,
right.
But like, even on like, I remember after your podcast and I had done that rant about like moms who,
oh man, some people were pissed about that, huh?
So and to this day, like I'm still getting shit for that.
Really?
To this day. Well, because and I'm just gonna stand.
It was powerful though, and it was fucking true.
I'm gonna stand on that every day. Like,
and
you're living proof of it because you're somebody who was a mother, who was in a fucking horrible place, who wasn't doing anything about it. And then when you finally got yourself out of it, you look back and said, "Wow, I was a piece of shit."
Yeah, it's I'm not gonna ever deny that. Like I was a fucking hypocrite. You name it. I mean, I'm not proud of it, but that was me.
I think if you go, and this is where like I never want to have children. I fucking hate them. I think they're horrible. I think anybody who has kids is insane.
Fucking
I have 7 kids.
I would rather have like 20 scorpions in a cage that were like free inside my house because that's an easier thing to manage than like 3 2-year-olds.
Tell us how you feel about kids, Aram.
I hate children. I don't think people should breed. I think there should be extensive psychological and financial testing that needs to be required prior.
It is wild that you have to pass tests for everything except
not children. Anybody can have. Do you understand the mountain?
Insane.
I mean,
anybody can
drive a car. Yeah. Why don't you just give everybody a license then?
Oh my God.
I think we'd be safer. I would be safer with people just getting licenses willy-nilly and being able to drink at whatever age they felt like it, because the amount of trash that human beings leave as far as children that were underserved and underparented is way worse than any fucking 12-year-old that gets behind a wheel. Like they might do some property damage, but they'll probably be scared shitless after the first telephone pole. But how many parents have kids that realize, fuck, I shouldn't have been a parent?
But if you had to pass testing, then that kid probably wouldn't be driving around recklessly at 12 years old because they'd have good parents.
Yeah. Exactly.
Everybody gets their tubes tied or a vasectomy upon puberty. They have to pass a test to get it undone.
I 100%.
Changing the world.
I mean, if I was able to run for president, that would be my first rule of business. Like you can only breed after you've passed an extensive line of questioning that was going to determine whether you're mentally sound, you have decent morals and values, you have a work ethic, and you're able to actually keep X amount of dollars in your bank account for the X amount of time. If you can't do that, your vasectomy is not being reversed, sir. Sorry. I guess you're going to have to keep owning pets instead. And even that people fuck
scorpions. I mean, even scorpions.
Well, but just think about that though. Like I see, and I feel bad. I get it. Cause like some psychological trauma is never dealt with, but here's the other part about mental health that I think people really I don't give a fuck. I'm fired up today.
Why the women got mad at you.
If you're north of 30,
we're talking about you running for president.
If you're north of 30 and you've been gainfully employed somewhere for some time and you are still dealing with mommy and daddy and like 17-year-old you issues, don't have kids and stop worrying about being fat. Work on your mental health first.
That's why I didn't have a child till I was 40.
Smart. And see, plenty
because I was a fucking mess. There was no way that I would have had a child before that.
Right. And even when you did, look at you, you still had the.
I mean, I still was a fucking train wreck. So
right. But that's such a massive responsibility.
It really is.
And that's why, like, I think I say it. I reference this on every podcast episode because I really do think Jim is like the cornerstone of fatherhood. Like, Jim is a huge piece of shit. Like, I know I've been
giant, like a bowl of diarrhea.
Yeah, like I've spent multiple hours, multiple nights with Jimmy, and I know what Jimmy's capable of. But I also know that he still is able to wear the hat of a really, really good father because he spends time and effort on his kids. Mm-hmm. And the amount of parents that I currently work with, maybe not currently, but I've had parents in the past who are neglectful, who don't give their children any attention, who throw a laptop in their fucking lap or an iPad just to shut them the fuck up to get 5 minutes of relief. They give them whatever they want to eat. They don't give them any responsibilities. They do everything for them. And then they wonder why these children grow up to be fucking maggots and pieces of shit. It's because that's the standard that you set because you have no standards for yourself. You eat whatever, you do whatever, you don't plan anything. You're not an adult. And then you expect your children to grow up in a household like that.
Yeah.
And this is why
we have a responsibility. I had a responsibility to quit drinking and not be that drunk mom to, be an idol for my son or whatever you want. What's that word? I don't know. 50. I can't remember shit.
Role model.
Thank you.
Idol role.
You know, I
I
mean,
was like,
imagine,
idol?
you know,
Yeah.
now my son's in jujitsu. He strength trains. He cooks with me. He's a well-rounded, smart kid. But you
Awesome.
know, that could be the total opposite. If I was to keep drinking and, you know, here you go.
But
Here's some chicken nuggets. I can't cook dinner tonight.
But yeah, but I think it's because he has two parents that had demons that had to dealt with, right?
Mhm.
Heroin
Yeah.
addict dad, alcoholic mom,
Yeah.
stopped doing both because they saw the error of their ways and they had to do something about it. Whereas most people will live and swim in their own pool of shit constantly and wonder why they're not coming out clean.
Mhm.
It's because you don't change your environment. You don't change your perspective. You want, but don't do anything about it.
Yeah.
So I think at some point, like if you don't give that hard-nosed look at yourself, if you can't be responsible and accountable to your own self, you have to seek help elsewhere.
Oh yeah.
And you have to, that you have a responsibility to that child. And better yet, when that child is older, then they don't have to take care of fucking you.
Yeah.
Because you're going to become a problem for everybody else. And like, even my parents talk about it now in their late 70s. They're like, we don't want to leave you with a mountain of garbage they have to deal with. We don't want to be picked up off the fucking toilet and picked up out of bed because we were too frail, too weak, too sick to do it.
Yeah.
So it's not about aesthetics and it's not about your fucking bikini body. If anybody listening, this is about a quality of life that you deserve. That if you don't see that, I don't give a shit about fat loss. This is about a quality of life that you need to level up to at some point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, Beth was the guest. You might not have known.
She agrees. She nodded her head a couple times.
I agree.
I mean,
what did you say that pissed people off on her podcast? Was it that whole spiel or was it something else?
Similar.
Not whole spiel like in a bad way.
Kind of similar.
Yeah.
Similar.
You know, just about we have responsibilities. If you're
taking-
going to be a parent, you have responsibilities.
Yeah.
You know, if you're basically your child is going to emulate what you do and, you know, the way you eat, everything.
Yeah.
You're not moving your body. Your kid's not going to move their body. You're eating like
No.
shit. Your kid's going to eat like shit too. And then you're going to wonder why, you know, at 11, you have an obese child.
Yeah.
And how's that not a,
you know,
I mean, my kid's not the
good.
leanest kid by far, but how's that not, he's not, I mean, he's not, he's like, he's in 5th grade now. He's like, I want to get like shredded for next year because there's like a pool party at the end of the year. I got to get rid of these. And he like grabs his
I also
chest.
think that he's
10.
You know, that's the age where boys get a little pudgy because they're prepubescent. And that's actually how my son got into strength training, because he came to me,
started lifting,
and he was like, Mom, my belly is getting big. I don't understand why. My body's changing. I don't like it. I know I'm not fat, but I just don't like it. And rather than me talk to him about dieting, because you don't want to put your fucking kid on a diet.
Correct.
No.
I'm like, let's see how strong you can get.
Yep.
You know,
Same
let's
thing.
start there. And literally, since he started strength training and then doing jujitsu, he has not been focusing on his body, but he's more focused on getting strong and feeling good. And he's more active. He's happier, less anxiety. And it's just his body's changing.
What you're saying is it's just like an adult.
Oh my God.
Let's not focus on the body so much. Are we getting stronger, feeling better, less anxiety, and then see what happens? Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's unbelievable because nothing is going to change. And I was doing a presentation today for Nick Lamb, and I was talking to a room full of people.
Be the change. Be the change.
And the change you wish to see.
Was that Gandhi?
It was Gandhi and Barack and Barack Obama. Barack took it now. He officially
you can't take something
he did.
from somebody else.
There's shirts with his face that say "Be the change." It's his now. It's official.
There's a funny conspiracy theory out there about how Barack Obama is a descendant of Hitler, and if anybody wants to Google that, they should. It's hysterical. Please look that up. I actually believe
Beth is going to do a review about that on Instagram Live Saturday afternoon. She's going to do research tonight.
Beth, we're going to finish off with this. Why? What are you going to talk about in March, or do you have any idea of what you're going to talk about in March? And why should people come and see your spiel?
I've been thinking about this, and I even asked Ryan, right? Because I know Ryan's going. Ryan's a good friend of mine, Ryan Kassem. And for me, it's like, okay,
he's the reason why I tore my Achilles, by the way.
I was going to ask you because he's been into all these outdoor sports recently. I'm like, has he been fucking around with Ram recently? Because he fucked up his hamstring, didn't he?
He had me fill in for a flag football game on Sunday, which I lasted 7 minutes in.
I'm going to be in San Diego next week, actually, and I'm meeting up with Ryan on Saturday for brunch. If you want to come, we're going to the big kitchen in Park in South Park.
How long are you here for?
I'm here. I'm going to be there from Wednesday to Sunday. 5 days.
If I don't see you, I'm going to be very upset.
So
I'm going to see Matt Rife, I think, on Saturday night. You know, the comedian.
This is during the day.
Okay. Well, I mean, you're going to be there for plenty of time.
Matt Rife? That young guy, the young, good-looking guy?
Yeah.
I don't think he's funny.
I think he's okay. He's okay. I'm going with a group of people. It's not my first choice. I like darker comedy than him, but you know, I don't always get my way. So
what are you going to talk about?
For me, it's going from trainer to business owner.
Okay.
And the steps that it took to get to where I am, which I'm still in them, Yeah. And Ryan is like, you should title it like resilient as fuck, because everything you've done with resilience. There's been a lot of steps to get to where I want to be that if I didn't continue, I wouldn't be where I am today.
Okay.
Just alone from coaching in the gym and interning and having the two coaches there completely harass me, and to the point where I almost quit. I was like, fuck this shit. So, I mean, I failed my first certified functional strength coach cert in person. Like
the Boyle one.
I took that. Yeah. I failed.
What a fucking joke that.
And then I had to fucking make videos over and over and over again and send it to Mike Boyle to get my certification. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't want to talk about nutrition or strength training, or there's so many people that talk about that. I don't know. For me, it's my story, where I came from and how I got to where I am today. Cause it's a fucking transition going from in-person coach to online to hiring. And, then building a sales team and, all this stuff. It's like, it's a journey.
Yeah. I think you have two things that really work well for you. I think you've lived it and breathed it yourself, which gives you a ton of credibility in my eyes. And I think anybody who's experienced what you've experienced is automatically an authority figure in that field. I also think that, like, for me, it would go like, if I was in the crowd, I would want to learn about that aspect of it. But I'd also think that you're doing amazing work with actually coaching people, because you're a very good coach. Your subject matter knowledge is higher than most, and that's what makes you good. That's what we're missing also, right? We have a lot of people that are getting really good at sales.
Right.
They're getting really good at marketing. They know how to sell a service, but they don't have no idea how to coach out of a paper bag.
And what's crazy is I've had to give up my online coaching. Like, I no longer coach clients.
You don't?
Because now I have to run a team.
Yeah. So you don't do it with anybody.
I do some group. I do like group coaching. I do Zooms. We do calls and things like that. So I'm always coaching, but I don't personally have any, like, I think my last one-on-one client left me like a few months ago. So I no longer have like any one-on-one clients because now I have 6 coaches coaching for me, and I had to make that transition, which was fucking hard. Actually, it was to give up that position because I have to work, I guess, in my business or on my business instead of in it.
Yeah.
For it to run effectively.
No, and I think you're doing it the right way, because I've yet to hear any bad review of your team.
Oh, good. That's good.
I mean, listen, I get all of it because I'm so vehemently against big coaching practices, and I talk about it all the time. But I think if you can do it right and you can still provide personal attention and results, who gives a fuck? Do it. I'm not going to ever step on somebody's ability to make money. I think when you're making money and you're sacrificing client experience to build a bigger team, you're a piece of shit.
Oh yeah. I want to do it in a way where I know all my coaches personally. I've either worked with them or have gone to school with them. So no one on my team is not anybody that I've just picked out of, hey, let's fill out some applications. It's like, no, I've, they've either interned with me or been in mentorships with me. I'm very picky about that. And I'm super involved in that aspect of, we have team meetings, we have a head coach, and I'm in all of that. Nothing, we want to help as many people as we can, but also do it the right way. Like,
good.
Yeah.
Good. That's what we're missing, because that's what the space needs, is people doing it. I have no problem with big coaching practices if the people that are signing up don't get forgot about.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Our coaches, if they can't handle more than a certain amount of clients, they don't get more clients. They let us know, it's okay, this is you're capped. You're not getting any more. It doesn't really like, let's have you get as many as possible. It's like, no, once your clients affected, and you and my coaches, I'm like, you guys take the weekends off. You are not working the weekend. We have boundaries with our clients. boundary, so the coaches are taken care of as much as the clients.
Nice. Well, I think it'll be very well received. I think that room, especially, it's going to be a bit of a different demographic this year than it was, or next year than it was this year.
There's going to be 12 guys there this year instead of 8. So it's going to be a big swing.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a percentage increase. But there was a lot of people in that crowd that were either borderline, I'm on the fence, making this my full-time gig, or I don't know how to transition. Mm-hmm. So I think having you up there saying, this is my journey, this is how long it took, don't expect it to be overnight. You will get here at some point if this is what you want.
Yeah.
And I think as tactical as you are every day with giving people real, applicable, hit the ground running advice, I think that's exactly what people are going to get at the Real Coaches Summit next year. So thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Bye.
Giving me this opportunity.
Bye. Stop talking. Bye.
Okay, bye.
Here's the thing. I didn't know that you've never spoken at an event.
I know when you were like, you've never spoken before, Beth. I'm like, no. You're like, I'm like, oh fuck. You thought I did. No,
that's but that's what
you've never spoken until you've spoken.
A lot of events that you go to, it's always the same, like 5 or 7 core people that keep coming back.
Mm-hmm.
So with the Real Coaches Summit, I wanted to make sure that every year was a new crop. Like I had to actually tell all the presenters from 2023, I'm like, I want to apologize in advance. I'm not inviting any of you back. And it's not because I didn't think you didn't do a good job. It's because I don't fucking want people learning from you again. They have the recording.
Why every year would you want to keep going to something when it's the same people? And how many conferences have we been to? It's like, oh, it's the same people
you again.
Okay.
With almost the same presentation. It's like if you were to go see a comedian once a year and they never change their material. That's what these conferences are doing. They're promoting celebrity fucking coaches or whatever else because they're big names and they put asses in seats, but you're hearing the same bullshit over and over again.
Yeah, I agree.
Like I don't need to, if I wanted to fucking learn from Alex Hormozy, I'd buy his book and I would go to his Instagram page.
That's the thing. Like what you said last year. I mean, the amount of people that we talked to, I mean, I specifically talked to who were part-time and feeling less than. Me and Aram talked a bunch about this. They feel less than. They don't feel like they belong there because they're not full-time. Because when you have these big name people and all this stuff, everybody assumes everybody's full-time or has this big successful business. And it's not the case. You don't have to be full-time. You don't have to. You can start later in life. You shouldn't be insecure because you're 40 starting to do this.
Exactly.
So that's where I think people will love to hear you speak. You started later.
Yeah.
42.
Yeah. So
I mean, this Beth Feraco Fitness is fairly new.
Right?
It's very new. I mean, I was in-person coaching since 2017 and I started Beth Feraco Fitness like officially in 2021.
Wow. So it's very new.
It's very fucking new. So I just quit in-person coaching probably a year and a half ago.
Wow.
And now the owner of the gym that I was coaching at that actually got me into coaching, he is now my business partner.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
The student becomes the teacher.
Yeah. He saw something in me that I didn't even see in myself, and we've been best friends for a long time and I couldn't imagine anyone else actually being a part of it. He is actually helped me with like the back office stuff, shit that I would not even know about, just there's so much that goes into, like I started out with Google Sheets and, all that stuff. And you have to, if you want to grow, you got to get away from the Google Sheets, Yeah,
Aram.
So
did you hear that, Aram?
I'm not trying to grow. You know that. I'm good where I'm at.
So I was doing, all my sales calls, you do everything for a long time. And I'm like, okay, what do I do? Like, I'm fucking swamped right now. Yeah. I don't want to turn these people away. I have a fucking waiting list. He's like, all right, I'll help you, with, your back office. Let's get you on a high level. Let's start there. And then it just kind of just morphed and changed. He hired a GM for his gym. And then he's like, I really want to help you more. So he's doing like a profit sharing thing. So if we don't make a certain amount, he doesn't get a certain percentage, but he still gets a salary.
Oh, nice.
Per month. Yeah. So he makes money either way, but it gives him incentive, to help me and like build a sales team to make more money.
Well, it'll be fun to hear about this. And I think people really appreciate that.
Yeah.
So to end things off,
bye.
Bye. Don't ask me a question.
You would have loved our original ending, but
I mean, fuck it. I don't care.
I'm just kidding. Ask the question.
Problem. I don't have to ask it.
Ask
I'm not passionately.
I think she might have a cool answer for this one.
Oh fuck!
So
what is the
you're
question?
about to get electrocuted in the electric chair because you're a bad criminal.
And it's 1987, and they don't do lethal injection.
Yeah, they don't do lethal
Oh,
injection.
that sounds fucking brutal.
It is.
What's my last meal?
Last meal. It could be anything. It could be multiple course. And then while you're eating your last meal, what's the album you're listening to?
Oh.
So,
See?
Okay.
Question. So
I'm listening to fucking Metallica.
What album?
Oh God. And Justice for All.
Mm.
Okay. And what am I eating? Good question. Some kind of like
Peppermint schnapps.
No.
I was gonna say a bottle of vodka.
You might as well go out with a bang.
Go out with a bang.
If you're gonna go from being an alcoholic to not drinking to having a drink right before you get the shit beat out of you to death, why not drink again?
I mean, I probably would have some Fernet Branca.
Yeah,
for sure.
While you're eating,
I would have a gallon of that, and
I would have some. I would have a gallon.
I just give me a fucking vat, okay? Let's do
maybe
some
like
keg stands with Fernet
maybe
Branca.
like a couple 8-balls.
Couple lines of Coke. Let's just
sounds like RSC 2024 is going to shape up to be nice.
Food to the food.
Yeah.
Okay.
We
Yeah.
exaggerate.
Food. Oh, some kind of pork, like shredded pork, carnitas or something like that. I'd have some Mexican food probably.
Okay.
Some carnitas tacos.
You know what I didn't think about is if you purposely ate a meal that would just create the most vile, explosive diarrhea
I was
shit
gonna say that, yeah.
while being electrocuted.
Oh fuck yeah! Let's just go out with a
That is genius.
That
fucking
is
taco
actually
butt.
Just
tons
of beans and the
refried
hottest
beans.
shit.
Oh yeah, give it to me some
Salsa.
hot sauce.
Oh, they gotta clean you up, those pieces of shit.
I'm excited to go to Old Town. I want to go to. Is Old Town Mexican Cafe still open?
I think so.
He doesn't leave his house. He doesn't really know.
No, there's the place that I like is Rockin' Baja Lobster in Old Town because they have a birria quesadilla there that's just unreal.
That's what I miss about California is
the Mexican. Yeah, you're not getting good Mexican in Maine.
No. Maine Mexican food.
You can get a lobster.
It's fucking great. Yeah,
there's probably 1,000
lot of
fucking micro breweries there.
They eat lobster from Mexico.
Yeah, it's called Langostino.
Langostino.
Well, Beth, thanks for being a fill-in to Jared Hamilton.
Yeah,
Jared Hamilton,
thanks for having me. A little fill-in.
Yeah.
When Jared finally comes on, we'll have him listen to this episode first.
Yeah.
Warm up.
Right. Thanks, Jared.
Beth, did you